You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors with me. I'm Louise, the founder of Standby Method Acting Studio, and every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid, working, unstoppable actor. Because you can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready? Hey! Oh my gosh, I am so excited to dive into this amazing episode with you, where I am going to be talking to you about all things moving your acting performances and dreams to the next stage. Because if there is one thing I've learned in my many years of being in this industry, it's that trying to find the answers to that can sometimes be a little bit like trying to find the man in the moon. And we all know that doesn't really exist. Now, before we get started, I would absolutely love to invite you to join one of the most supportive online acting groups on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Group. Every single day, we're in there helping and supporting each other as we work towards our acting dreams. And you can come and play in the Unstoppable Actors Group by going to this link, bit.ly/unstoppable actors, all in lowercase, or by clicking the link underneath this podcast, and you can come and join us. No matter what stage you're at, an acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into today's episode and make that happen? Let's get started. So, how the hell do you actually start taking your dreams to the next stage and taking your skills to the next stage so you can actually start to get closer and closer and closer to the success that you imagine for yourself as an actor? Well, I say it all the time, but firstly, you have to understand and believe with every fibre of your being that an acting career is doable. Your acting inspiration, or all those actors that you see at the top of their game who land role after role, are no different to you. They are no different to you. The only thing that's different is that they have been consistent and they have committed to their dreams. And that's what it's going to take, is consistency. And, continuing to be consistent, even when it feels like things aren't moving forwards, even when it feels like you're getting stuck, and even when the mind monkeys are kicking in and telling you, oh, look, not much is happening. Maybe you should knock this on the head. Maybe you should forget about an acting career. You have to continue to be consistent despite the mind monkeys, despite the setbacks, despite anything that doesn't seem to be happening. Now, as I'm recording this podcast, my 13-year-old cat is next to me snoring away, so you might hear her jaw in it. She seems to be having a really nice sleep. But let's dive further into this then. So I want to talk to you about the triangle for success. So the triangle for success has 3 points on it, obviously, because it's a triangle. And the 3 points on the triangle are mindset, skill set, and action set. So the triangle points towards mindset because that is the most important thing that you have to nurture if you are going to get closer and closer and closer to that success that you imagine yourself experiencing, that success that you daydream about, when you're just in the middle of washing the pots or doing some homework or whatever, and you're just imagining yourself being on set, or, just working with Martin Scorsese or whoever it is that you imagine working with. You have to put the foundations in first and really believe that this can happen. You've got to nurture your mind. You've got to feed it the good stuff. You really have to. You have to have a healthy mind, because you are going to experience a lot of rejection. You're going to hear a lot of no's. And if you don't have a healthy mind and you don't have that belief, a couple of no's could really knock your confidence. So what can you do for that then? Well, if you come and join our Unstoppable Actors Group, I've written a method acting ebook and it's completely free of charge. And there's an entire section on confidence, and there's 10 or maybe 14, between 10 and 14 practical exercises that you can do to start building your confidence up. Now, you don't need to do all of them because that might be a little bit overwhelming, but you could perhaps pick 1 or 2 and start working your way through those if you know that your mindset can be a little bit wobbly at times, because it's really, really important that you do have that belief, because that belief in yourself will act as the springboard for you taking action. which is also on the method acting triangle. So the second part of the method acting triangle is skill set. So you have to have the skills required to be a professional actor, especially if you're going to work with integrity. And I'm going to come back to that a little bit later. And then the third and final point on the triangle for success is action set. So you have got to be taking action every single day towards your dreams, no matter how small it may seem. You have got to commit to that. You have to make that a non-negotiable. You know, life is always going to happen. There are always going to be life problems presenting themselves. Even amidst all the life problems, you have to make that a non-negotiable to take action, even when you don't feel motivated, if you have got big ambitions. So let's dive further into this then. So I've already spoken about nurturing your mind, and you can come and try some of those practical exercises from the Method Acting ebook. But one thing that you could do is to start to nurture your mind and to start to cultivate that belief in yourself is writing little affirmations on either post-it notes or little bits of card or little bits of paper and just sticking them around the house. Now, the thing about affirmations is your brain might not necessarily believe them when you first write them. So if that's happening, if you are writing or repeating an affirmation to yourself that says, I am a professional actor, but your brain's going, no, you're not. You work in that crappy 9-to-5 job that you hate, which that can sometimes happen, then what you would want to do is change the language. So you might want to write or repeat to yourself, I am in the process of becoming a professional actor, because saying I am in the process doesn't give your mind the opportunity to go, no, you're not, no, you're not. You're in that crappy 9-to-5 job. You're not a professional actor. So you might want to start with that. That's a really good way of nurturing your mind. Now, if your mind doesn't believe it at first, don't worry, that's fine. The more you see these affirmations everywhere and the more you repeat them to yourself, eventually your mind will get on board with this and accept it. And that's a really simple way to nurture your mind and feed it the good stuff. And that doesn't take very long to do. You know, you could be repeating these affirmations in the morning in the mirror to yourself in your head as you're brushing your teeth, or you could be doing it as you're in the shower, or when you're sat on the toilet, or when you're driving, or anywhere, to be honest. And that's a really easy way of nurturing your mind and combining that with your day-to-day life activities that you have to crack on with. So let's move to skill set then. You have to practice your skills daily. This has to be a non-negotiable, unfortunately. You know, the actors of ours at Standby Method Acting Studio who are getting closer and closer and closer to that success that they imagine for themselves, the ones who are winning awards, the ones who are working on TV or in theatre pre-lockdown, are the ones who are practicing their skills day in, day out. It's just become a daily part of their routine. It's a non-negotiable. You know, lots of people look at them and go, oh my God, what are they doing different? They're so lucky. No, they're not lucky. They're creating their own look because they are putting that intention out there that they are working towards becoming a professional actor or getting closer to the success they want. So here are some suggestions of what you could be doing to practice your skills daily. You could just be reading a script every single day for 10 minutes. That's a really easy way to get started. You could be practicing script analysis skills for 10 minutes a day. You could be practicing any form of relaxation for 10 minutes every single day, which is a vital part of the acting process. You could be doing a sense memory exercise every single day just for 10 minutes. Now, if you're not sure what sense memory is, I would encourage you to come and join the Unstoppable Actors group. I know I bang on and on about it, but I delivered a 30-minute sense memory class in there and I show you how to do it. So if you're unsure what that is, come into that group and do that class. And then once you've watched it once, you can repeat it daily for 10 minutes. And that's really going to sharpen your concentration skills. It's going to sharpen your imagination. And it's really going to make a massive impact on how you can connect to characters and how you believe in the environment and the surroundings of the character. And it's just going to give you that extra oomph to your acting. And there are lots of other things that you can be doing. But to get started, it might seem a little bit overwhelming going, oh, I need to do an hour a day on my acting skills. No, just start small, 10 minutes. And when that's become a habit, start increasing the time. And you will just start to find that not only will your skills improve, but you'll start to have more confidence in yourself and you will start to take more action with your acting goals because all of that work has to be for something. You're not just doing it for nothing. So you'll start to get more committed to your dreams as well. And then the third thing on the triangle for success is action set. So I've already spoken about taking daily action with your skills, but you also have to take daily action to build up your networks and to look for jobs. A lot of people ask me, but how do I know when I'm ready to start doing that? And the thing is, most of us will never feel ready. You've just got to have the courage to do it anyway. Now, if you are practicing your skills daily, then you're working with integrity, but you've just got to get yourself out there. So get yourself on some casting profiles, start having a little look around them and finding out what makes a good profile and what makes a weak profile. And if you're already on casting profiles, schedule a time in your day where for 10, 15 or even 20 minutes per day, you solely commit to looking for acting jobs. It doesn't mean you're going to find a casting every single day that you can apply for. It doesn't mean that you're going to be applying for 10 castings every single day, but the very act of sitting down and committing that time to it, again, will make you feel more invested in your acting dreams. And when you start doing things and taking action, that's when the magic starts to happen. And the other thing you need to be doing is building your networks as well. You really need to be starting to get to know people in the industry, because you will have more than likely heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I believe, you do need to know about the craft and you do need to be competent with your skills, with your acting skills, but you do need to build your relationships. So what you could do is you could give yourself a challenge, a 30-day challenge of reaching out to 2 people every single day in the industry and just starting a conversation with them with no ulterior motive other than to just connect with them and just have a conversation. That's it. So how do you do that? Well, you could look on social media. You could start looking on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook for people who are in the industry. Again, you could come and join our Unstoppable Actors group and you could just start creating posts in there to start helping you connect with other people. There are many, many ways that you can do this. Get creative. But if you set yourself a 30-day challenge to reach out to 2 people every single day and just start a conversation with them, before you know it, you are going to have built up your networks really bloody quickly. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is going to reply to you, because they might not. They just might not. But there are going to be some people over that 30-day period who do. And that is the start of you building your networks. As I've already said, you've just got to be so consistent with this. Really, really consistent. It's that consistency that is going to pay off. It's that consistency that's going to help you get to the next stage with your acting skills. And it's that consistency that's going to help you get to the next stage in your acting dreams. At Standby Method Acting Studio, we firmly believe that you have to give 50% of your attention to the business of acting and 50% of your attention to your skills and improving those. And I've obviously already given you some ideas on how you can start improving both and getting to the next stage with both. But I want to tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I went to a Q&A with Robert De Niro, which was absolutely amazing. And he was talking about how back in the early days, before anybody knew who he was taking his acting classes regularly, and he would get a paper, I forgot what it was called, some sort of like newspaper or some sort of article which had the audition breakdowns in, because obviously back in the day when Robert De Niro was starting out, there wasn't the internet. So he would look through the castings, the casting breakdowns, and he would apply to them and get himself out to these auditions. Now, he was saying his girlfriend at the time, who was also studying with him in these classes and wanted to be an actress, would say things to him like, yeah, but you might not get the role. What if you hear a no? And Robert De Niro said to her, well, that's the risk you've got to take. And I want to offer that to you, because that is the risk you've got to take. There is a chance that you might hear no. There is a chance that you might not get jobs. Does that mean you just don't put yourself out there? Of course it doesn't. So you have got to take the risk. And you have got to take the risk with investing 10 minutes of your time every single day to practicing your acting skills. Because if you don't take the risk, you will just get to the end of your life thinking, oh, what if I'd have just done it? Who knows what could have happened? And you'll just feel really regretful. And there is nothing worse than having that feeling of regret inside you. It's a really horrible feeling. So, that's exactly what our acting students do. They take the risk. The ones who, are working, the ones who are getting paid work, the ones who are building their profile and getting momentum behind them are literally taking the risk. They're practicing the skills every day, and they are carving out that time every single day to build up their networks and to apply for castings. They are just taking the risk. So I really hope this has been useful for you. I hope you've got something out of it. If you have, let me know. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Go and make your acting dreams happen, because you absolutely can. An acting career is doable. I have absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. Now, if you did, I'd really love you to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave a review. And if you would like weekly injections of inspiration, you'd like mini method acting challenges to keep you making progress with your dreams, come and join the most supportive acting community online by clicking the link in the notes to help you become an unstoppable actor.